Right, you don't have to look at my ugly mush today. Oh, let me just get that down a wee bit so that you can see it. Right, there we go. Right, so the topic for today is what's in my bag. It's a question I get asked quite a lot, certainly when I do talks at camera clubs. The questions after talks and lectures very often moves on to gear. Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why do you do the other? So let's dive into what's in my bag. By the way, the bag itself is a Flipside 400 AW. I love the bag because with the tummy strap done up, I can take the shoulder straps off and I can spin the bag around and get at the contents without taking the bag off. It rotates on the tummy straps. So if I'm on a beach or anywhere where the ground is really mucky and horrible, I don't have to put the bag down on the deck and get the other side of it really mucky, which is really useful. So let's dive in. Do you know, it just suddenly occurred to me, I haven't actually looked in here, so I have no idea whether it genuinely contains everything it would normally have. Let's have a look. Yes, it does. It does. That's good. Whew. Right, so main weapon of choice, an Olympus OMD EM1 Mark III. Lovely camera, weather sealed, built like a tank, is the flagship camera. I also have an EM1 Mark II, which will become my backup camera. Lovely bit of kit. The lens is the 12-100 Pro lens, which is an f4 lens all the way through. Again, built like a tank. Lovely focal range. Also has the addition of the image stabilization button here, so I can just switch it on and off at will, which is really handy. So, main camera. Worth just pointing out for a minute, there is an empty space, that empty space there, and there's also an empty space there. They would normally be taken up by the camera that's videoing. So this space here would be taken up with an EM5 Mark II, an Olympus EM5 Mark II, and then here would be the 9 to 18mm zoom lens. Clearly they're not in here because they're up there videoing what's going on. So staying with Olympus camera kit, I also have, this is a 14-150 kit zoom lens. Very rarely will I want to go beyond the 100mm capability of this lens here. Ordinarily out in the landscape this is enough. However, I want to go just a little bit further, then that's where this lens come in. Yes, it's a kit lens, it's cheap, I wouldn't say it's nasty, but it's cheap, but it's so lightweight, and for that extra 50mm each that I get at the end, it's worth it. Even the quality trade-off is a price worth paying for the limited numbers of times that I actually use this lens out in the landscape. So a 14-150mm lens. Also, at 14-150, if this Pro lens ever let me down out in the field, I could put this on and I would be losing 2mm at the wide end, but I could carry on shooting. I wouldn't have to give up and come back to the car, so gives me options. So that's those two. In the side pouch I have a cable release for the Olympus cameras. This is a Pixel camera release, I don't know, it cost me about £5 or £6, but it just gives me that flexibility that if I definitely don't want to touch the camera, I can use that. Lens cloth, everybody should have a lens cloth. Let's stick with cameras. Those of you that have been watching my channel for a while will know what this is. This is a pinhole camera, a film pinhole camera. Something I've been playing with, something I'm not 100% sure whether it adds anything to my photography or not, but I'm curious enough to keep it in my camera bag, and I've got a Arca Swiss type plate on the bottom, so it's ready to rock and roll. To go with it, I have a roll of sellotape, and I also have a spare film. Remember these? Just to prove to you. Look, what's that? Oh my god. So yeah, I have a spare film and I have a reel of sellotape, because to attach the film to the take-up spool you need a small sellotape. That's what that's for. So, pinhole camera. Right, what else? Polarizer, which fits on the end of that lens. Just really handy. Very small, weighs nothing, and if I just want a polarizer on the end, I don't know, I'm at the seaside or a river or a lake or whatever, then I can just pop that straight on and I'm ready to rock and roll. If you are enjoying this video and would like to support my channel, then please click on the thumbs up icon indicated here. To be notified when I upload new content, which will be every 2 weeks, then please consider subscribing. It's free and you can unsubscribe at any time. As well as subscribing, click on the bell icon and select all in order to get these notifications. All updates for new videos appear here on the top right hand side of your YouTube homepage. Let's stick with camera gear. A notebook. You may be asking, Hugh, why do you have a notebook in your camera bag? Well, when I'm using one of these, there's no EXIF data with a piece of film. So every time I take a frame with this pinhole camera, I make a note in this book as to where I took it. Oh, it's upside down. Where I took it, how long the exposure was, etc., etc. So that when I go have the film exposed, developed, I've got a record of which images I took, where did I take them, etc., etc. What this also enables me to do is to learn the characteristics of film. So when I use my pinhole, I tend to bracket. So I'll be one stop under and one stop over, and I'll write that down in this book. When I get the processed results, I can then look at whether the film will tolerate being pushed under or pushed over. So useful thing to have. And I also have a pencil as well, which stays here. You could probably do with a bit of a sharpen, but there we go. What else have we got in here? Right, that's that for that. Filters. Again, those of you who've watched my channel a lot will know that I use filters. My chosen filter holder is, where is it? Is Case. And that's the holder. And then in here I've also got the rings and the lens cover. And there's also the, where's the polarizer? Polarizer's in here somewhere. It's probably at the back. There's the sleeve for the polarizer. Where's the polarizer gone? There it is. No, that's not the polarizer. I'm normally a lot more ordered than this. Polarizer's in there somewhere. I also have filters. These are my grad filters. I have a 3-stop medium. I have a 4-stop medium. Those are grads. And I have a 3-stop reverse. I also have a 6 stop neutral density. That's to enable me to do long exposures, and that's it. That's the only filters I have. I actually don't need anything else, or I rarely need anything else. There's the polarizer, which actually should live in this wee sleeve to protect it. And this is one of the reasons why I love the case system, because everything that I need for the case system lives in this little wee pouch, which is just fantastic. Everything goes in there. There we go, everything I need for my filters in one pouch. And this is a Lee Filters filter pouch, by the way. I used to use Lee filters, don't use Lee filters anymore. I use Nissi filters at the moment. And then the last thing of note is a head torch. Every landscape photographer should have a head torch. The number of times I've been caught, or not caught, but you know, I've been late coming down off a hill and it's got dark and I need to see where I'm going. So a head torch. And then just a few more items worth noting. Spare battery, that's in this pouch here. And the only other thing worth mentioning, oh, that's the instruction sheet to tell me, or remind me I should say, how to replace the film in the pinhole camera. Just in case I ever forget, I have the instructions. The other thing worth noting is this is an exposure meter for the pinhole camera. So this outside dial here is the weather conditions, so I'll put it on cloudy. This little window here is the ISO of the film. Where are we? Let's change it to, there we go, 100. And then what you do is you read off the f-stop of the pinhole camera, and mine is 64, and then that will give you an exposure. So I just hold that up. So I've got the weather one on cloud, I've got the ISO window on 100, and then I read off, oh no, sorry, my f-stop's 128, not 64, so that would give me somewhere between 30 and 15 seconds, and that's what I use when I'm trying to calculate the exposure with my pinhole camera. I have one of those in here as well. Other ancillary bits worth noting, I always have a 10p piece and a 2p piece. I have those in order to do up things like the L bracket that sits on the bottom of my Olympus. Sometimes it comes loose, very often I can just use the coin just to nip up the grub screw, and that sorts it out. That one's empty. And then the other thing worth noting is a spare memory card. Always have a spare memory card. The number of times I've forgotten and I've taken the card out of the camera, I've got it in my computer, and I've rushed out the next day and I've forgotten to put the card back in. Always have a spare memory card. And that is what's in my bag. Yep, I'm just checking that there's nothing else of note, and no, there isn't. There we are. What's in my camera bag? I know it's not particularly thrilling, but that's what people ask me when I'm at camera clubs, and now I have a video to set down the answer permanently, which is quite cool, isn't it? Right, I'm going to put all of this away. Whilst I'm doing so, I should say a big thank you to everybody for watching this video. I do hope it's been interesting. I always find it interesting to see what other little bits and pieces people have in their camera bags. You know, little hints and tips and tricks that... oh, hang on, I found something else. Lens wipes. Lens wipes. I've got a big box of them, about 400 of them. I always have a few lens wipes, because you just never know, especially if you're at the seaside Just wiping your filters or the front of your lens with a cloth isn't going to cut it, especially at the seaside, because salt water can get really greasy. And there you go, you see. Find something new every day. Right, so yes, thank you very much for watching. I hope it's been interesting and informative, and you've taken some ideas away of your own to add to your own kit. Until the next one, thank you very much indeed. Please stay well and please stay safe. I shall see you on my next video. Take care. Toodaloo.